Hello, Susie. I want to talk to you about
Hi.
metabolic awareness, something me and you have gone live and talked about before. And particularly, of course, we're going to talk about it in relationship to its impact on those who've got cancer. Can you tell me more about what metabolic inflexibility means so that our listeners can get a grasp of where they might need to go to make themselves more flexible?
Sure. Over time recently, we have evolved to get our calories, thus our energy, mainly from carbohydrates because it's easier for the body. And what we really want to do is be flexible enough that our bodies can get calories and energy from other sources, for example, healthy fats. And yeah, so this is deemed as metabolic flexibility when we can chop and change where we get our energy source.
So, why is the diet that we're eating today putting us at greater risk of diseases? Because there's more food available to us than ever has been from an ancestral point of view, but yet this food is causing or attributing to more and more chronic diseases. So, explain more about what, how we're eating wrongly and what we should eat more. So you said carbohydrates, but how do we change that, Susie? How do our listeners implement change that could make their bodies more flexible?
Well, as you said, food is more available now than ever before. And that is a massive part of the problem because in the past, go back to our hunter-gatherer years, in the past, food was not available all the time. So we ate with the seasons, and fasting was a big part of life because if you hadn't just killed a saber-toothed tiger, then it was going to be a bit of a delay before you were eating. And so diet was supplemented with berries and plant food and meat from time to time. But there were these periods of not starvation, but fasting. And in the summer, there was, or towards the end of the summer, there was all these berries and stuff that was rich with carbs, and that kind of saw us through the winter when food was a bit more scarce. But nowadays, you can buy anything 24 hours a day in some places. So we're not having these periods of fasting. So that's the first issue, is we are bombarded with food at every turn. We can buy something to eat on every corner.
Yeah,
And we are just overeating,
yeah.
and a lot of the processed, readily available food, just to walk into a shop and grab, is carb heavy. And so our exposure to carbs is much easier, more readily available, and so we're eating more carbs. Um,
So
so
what can
because
we
we
do to make ourselves more flexible? How would you encourage somebody to eat?
I think we need to look at the different macronutrients in our diet, try to reduce carbs. Now, we do talk a lot about a ketogenic diet. Now, ketogenic diet is not right for everyone. It's kind of dependent on the person and cancer, their type of cancer. But we can see that a modified keto approach is a good direction for most people.
Yeah.
So to do that, we need to try and reduce the carb intake in our diet and then replace it with healthier fats. Bit of protein, again, it depends on the cancer and the person, what kind of ratios you would look for in each different macronutrient. But we see if we're taking away the carbs and replacing it with healthier calories from fat, that helps us to be more flexible. And we're also getting a lot more, well, nutrients from, getting omega-3s and anti-inflammatories and things that are better for our energy levels. And just, yeah, there's a lot less issues associated with having an avocado than there is a bag of chips.
Yeah.
So
And it is about that. If people go, I don't know what's processed, what's not, it's about looking at food that looks like food versus looking for food that's wrapped in a packet with multiple ingredients on it, isn't it? Now,
yeah.
if somebody, for example, is going through a cancer journey and they want to come and see you, is there anything that you would be looking to test to ascertain flexibility or inflexibility? Is there anything anybody could go away and get tested now in preparation for that appointment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to do some genomic testing
Yeah.
And that can tell us an individual's suitability to do a ketogenic diet. So there's some genetic or genomic SNPs that we look at, and it will tell us how our body's dealing with fats, absorption of fats, different things that might impede being able to go keto. But going keto can be attained in other ways. So if there are issues with your genomics, we can always use fasting. We can use exogenous ketones. There's various different ways that we can attain that flexibility, even if people don't have exactly the right genomics.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. So what the message to take home is that there's lots of different ways to support an individual that's inflexible, whether that's changing the food that they're eating, whether that's going in a more radical dietary intervention, if that's right by you, whether that's testing and looking at what's right by you. But actually, Susie, these individuals really do need a little bit of supporting hand-holding from a nutritional point of view to make sure that their macro and micronutrients are being met, as well as supporting their body in that process, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And as you know, there's lots of testing to do. You can start off with a little simple Keto Mojo testing kit that will test your blood sugar and test if you're going into ketosis. You can also follow a chronometer to see if you're getting the right macros and micros with your diet. You can use that for free. And then somewhere down the line, 3 to 6 months down the line, we can do some nutrient assessments just to double check that your body's using everything as it needs to, and then tweak where necessary.
Amazing. There's so much information in that, Susie. So to all of our listeners, you may have heard of this buzzword, metabolic flexibility or inflexibility. Let Susie take you on a journey for your individualized approach to supporting yourself through that journey. Thank you, Susie, and thank you to all of our listeners. Take care for now.
Thanks, Jo.